GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello everybody, hello traders, my name is Dima. You know how it goes around here. It's another week of higher probability setups, another market analysis, looking at some better quality chart setups in the week. Hope you're doing well, and as always, let's go through the markets, let's go through the week and see what we've got for this week. If you've noticed, the last couple of weeks we have had quite a rough market in some of the charts, and hopefully you've managed your risk to keep yourself in the game. And let's have a look whether we can make use of what we've got for this week. Last week, as I was saying, and last couple of weeks have been a little bit more unpredictable than usual, I'd say. So watch out for what the market does. Market can always bring up unpredictable surprises. Let's have a look at what we've got for this week, and let's prepare for our charts, and let's prepare our ideas for this week. On Monday, we've got bank holidays in Australia and New Zealand. On Tuesday, we've got consumer confidence, somewhat lower importance, the news, and home sales on a dollar. And then on Wednesday, we've got a bigger one on Australian dollar inflation and CPI numbers, and again on the dollar durable goods. And then we've got the GDP figures from the US on Thursday, and on Friday, we've got some more heavy hitters. The yen would probably be the big one, monetary policy there, Bank of Japan, and on the Swiss from Switzerland, the speech there on the central bank. And then on CAD, GDP figures there, and then of low importance, the PC price index on the dollar. So I will be paying some attention to this one on Wednesday, and definitely on Friday will be something to watch for in terms of volatility. Let's begin with what we've got for this week. Another little mix for you, and yeah, let's jump in and begin with, as always, the main major forex pairs. Right then, let's begin with where we ended up last time. And last time we were talking about the obvious bullish environment, and the idea is always to buy the euro dollar as we have a weakness in the dollar, and obviously the chart is telling us a clear direction. And last week we ended up with a bullish candle looking to go higher even further, and this was what we marked out. And then what happened, the market just ended up very choppy in the week. So whether you got an entry or not, I don't know, but we have been stuck in this sort of little range here. So what do we do from here? Well, the idea here is that now that we're in this range, we have not moved away from this area. The question becomes, well, where are we going? So seeing as we are aiming for the next higher level, so let me just remove this. The idea here would be whether if we get a clean break and then a pullback, that will be a possible idea at the high of this range to enter on a better price. And if the opposite is the case and we break down and clear this low, then I'll be looking for the market to go lower. However, I want to be more careful with this idea on the short, because overall we're in a high time frame bullish idea, as I was saying, very clear trend to see here, and therefore I really want to wait for very clear price action if we are indeed going to be breaking down. Yeah, that is the more probable scenario to the upside here. And because it is currently ranging, I want to be a little bit more careful and tread more carefully here and see how the week progresses as we go on, especially into the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's the euro dollar. Let's now go into another euro pair. Let's go to euro yen. Start on the weekly again. And once again, last week I was looking at this bearish, I think it was last week, at this after this big bullish candle, lots of strength, looking at this high to be the target, and look down into this level that I marked out with this price point here being the invalidation, and we moved away and then came back one more time to take out all of these lows here, but not taking out the low that I had marked out, and then actually continue on its upward momentum. So this was a more volatile one and a little bit trickier to read, but let me delete this once more. However, the trend is still holding, and now I would still look for this to hold, and therefore, since it is still holding, I'm still looking at this point to be the target, which at the moment is about 100 pips away. So there is a sort of, now that we've had this swing back up to take these structural highs, then I am looking at this as a potential right here. It's also possible to look on the lower time frame and see if we get a better price during the week at some point, whatever better price within this sort of range, within this low here to the high. Any better price would be great, as we are aiming for a better risk to reward, better probability trade, and whether we get it or not, I don't know. But let's see if we head higher or we drop a little bit lower initially at the beginning of the week to get a better price. So at the moment, we're kind of halfway in between these two. So really would like something a little bit cheaper in order to get in on this move and make real use of it to make it worthwhile. But either way, so far it's clear that the buy scenario prevails in terms of probability, and then once we break below this point, then we'll have to cross that off and move on. So that's Euro Yen. Okay, now let's go to another Euro pair. We've got bullishness in the Euro, so looking to buy Euro. However, you don't want to be trading all the Euros at once. As I'm always saying here, we're always going on about it, manage your risk and really pick the best quality one, the highest probability. Less is more in this case. Again, EURCAD, let's look at the weekly, something we looked at last week or a couple of weeks ago, if my memory serves me right. This was the first target I'm looking at, and this was the second one marked out because of these obvious swing high here and this swing here. We kept going higher, and these are our next target with this continued bullishness. Because of that, let's have a look on the lower time frame, the 4 hour. This was the idea a couple of weeks back, and we had some choppiness here, as you can see, and now finally we broke very, very strongly to the upside and finally made that move higher. So whether you got stopped out here or you did get an entry, either way, we are now continuing the bullishness. You can see here we've broken the structure of the market. We're now heading higher. So once again, any better price to go continue higher into this high and possibly beyond into the next one, which is another 150 pips away. So a decent move if we get it. Let's see if we do. Would like to see it come down first of all initially before heading higher, but again it could just continue to rip higher. At the moment it's got a lot of force behind it. As you can see, once we broke out of this range of this period of uncertain price action and uncertain direction. So this would have fooled a lot of people. And looking on the high time frame, you can clearly see last week bullish, engulfing, and then this is the next point of to target to look for, and then these highs up here. So again, bullishness on EURCAD. But once again, I'll just mention that you don't want to be trying to trade all the CAD pairs all at once. Sorry, all the Euro pairs all at once, I should say. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Next one on the list is going to be Pound New Zealand, which I believe we also looked at last week. Yes, we did. And what do we look at? Well, the obvious continued bullishness on the Pound New Zealand here. Last week, bullish, continuing to the high up here. And obviously the first target would have been the high of last week, which we did indeed reach. So let me just remove that. Let's go to the 4 hour. This was my idea. The market didn't actually reach it. We went higher, so we may create another swing. This would have been another opportunity, and then went higher. Again, you can see that break of a significant structure, pulling back to a better price, and this would have been an entry. So the next bit that I'm going to reference is this low down here, which is this obvious swing low, and then we are kind of reaching towards this initial target. And now that we are fairly close to it, we could see that if once we go and you breach it, the next target would be up here. What I'm going to do is, in terms of high probability, you can see that this is another possible swing. So once again, there could be an entry here, or if we break higher and clear the level, then another entry into a better price and continuation higher would be the idea on pound New Zealand here. As long as we don't reach this low right here, any pullback to, we've got a level here, that's another possibility into an even better price, and then move higher. That's also an idea. So just looking for entries now that we are continuing high. We've got that bullishness, we've got that clear momentum going, and we have not yet reached our target areas. Then I'm going to still continue with the bullishness, with the buy idea, and try and capitalize on that. Initially missed this one last week, and this would have been another one, but hey ho, such is the market. You never know what you're going to get, and just have to adapt to it. But for the moment, we'll stick with the process. So that's pound New Zealand, and let's move on to another chart. Next one I'm going to go to, let's go to S&P. Right, so SP500 or S&P. This one was another one that we were looking at bullishness on, and for a few weeks now, many weeks in a row. And the first target would have been this high up here in the line, and then the next one would be in this gap that the market created very long time ago in 2022 August. This would have been the second target. So we've got this zone, if you like, this level, and then the next level 42 and 42.22 as the targets. And last week, in comparison to the week before, we closed bearish, but we had this, as you can see, let me just point it out, this wick here, which did not take out the low of the previous week. So we've still got bullishness, if anything. This is what we looked at last time, a few weeks back, I think. And now that we've got another low created here, then this would be the next point of invalidation, looking to reach this high. Let me just delete these markings just to make it clearer. So now what we've got is what looks to be a range being developing, and we've got this level down here. So as long as we don't breach this low down here, we're still in a bullish scenario. If we do, then the whole idea breaks down and no longer going to be interested, because what you can see on the chart would be telling you that the market structure has shifted, the market has changed its direction, more likely to have changed its direction. Right, what else can we see here? Well, we can see that we are currently in a kind of channel moving downwards. If you want to draw this line, this little mini trend, and we are holding this level. So what's next? Well, what's next is if we get a better price and a move away, then break of clearly of this little trend continuing to the upside. That will be the favorable idea, because we are making use of the higher time frame direction, which is to the upside. That's where we are flowing, that's where the market is going. And for now, that is still the case until we break this low, as I said, and this would be an entry, this would be an idea. The other possibility, of course, if we don't get a better price, is we breach this kind of trend line, break the market structure right here, this high here, And then if we breach that, let me just make it a little bit clearer. If we breach that without going lower and then create a better price, that would be a possible idea with also a decent risk to reward here and high probability confirming. We'll have more confirmations by then that the market is going higher. So we've got a little bit more information. At the moment, this range in the whole week, if anything, the week is bearish, is not really showing us anything. We do have the higher time frame bullishness, but the week ended bearish last week. So let's see if we get that continuation with this brief sort of, if you like, a little pause, a little pullback before we continue higher still. And so far there is no reversal pattern. There's no indication that we are coming down. Still bullish. Yeah, so overall the ultimate target, if you were going to pick one, would be this 42.22. So that's the S&P. Still a bit of bullishness remaining. Let's go to oil. Been monitoring oil for a bit. Last few weeks have been very indecisive, unclear, and then last week we have had this drop and we broke the structures of the previous 2 weeks. We had this high as a reference point to break through, which we did. And now what it looks like is we are coming down to fill this gap that remains. So let me delete all of these previous markings. Here's that level of reference that we had, and we're looking for the market to continue its bullishness to break through that and reach the next levels, which is here, and this obvious swing as well. At the moment we have no swing, no clarity, and we are just coming down to fill the gap. As you can see, we haven't filled this gap yet here. This is the point of the gap. This is the price point, so let me just mark that out. And the reference point in terms of a swing would be this obvious swing right here. So if we breach that, then I'll be looking at a whole different possible scenario, and we'll see what happens. At the moment, let's try and make it a bit straight. At the moment, we haven't quite reached that. So the favored idea would be to fill the gap and then push higher. And then when we start pushing higher, obviously the next swing, better pullback, getting a better price and reaching the next level. Obviously first will be this high, and then ultimately the much higher place around here at 93, the 93 level. So that's the idea at the moment on oil. We have broken these structures and we are still in this little mini downtrend on the lower time frame. As you can see, each day has been closing lower, weaker. So the next thing to look for would be for the markets turn around, because overall there's signs of bullishness in oil, and that's what I'm looking for at the moment. More bullish than bearish. Now that we've broken these structures, we have headed lower. Then the market did not breach this low, maintained this low, and now we have actually came right back up sharply, created this huge gap, and then broke the structures here to the left, which is a possibility that we are heading higher. So let's wait for that confirmation and wait for that swing, and then let's the market tell us what it wants to do when it wants to do it. For the moment, just have to be patient and wait for that. Once the gap is filled, which the market is likely to do so, more often than not, it fills gaps eventually at some point, and we will go with those probabilities once it happens, if it happens. Otherwise, for the moment, just stay on the sidelines. That is the better move, and being patient until it gives us that picture that we're looking for, which is that reversal and continuation to the upside. Finally, as always, going to look at crypto, and we'll come back to Bitcoin now. So with Bitcoin, it's been a funny one. The last few weeks have been slightly unpredictable. It's not what we expected. It's not what I was looking at. However, what we now have is this drop in the market, and I still have these levels marked out as nothing has really changed in terms of the scenario and the entry point. So here is that range I marked out a few weeks back. We've broken through it, and now we've actually come right back down into it. And let's see if we clear this range and go even lower. The obvious scenario, obvious higher time frame idea is to the upside. It's bullish. You can see on the weekly we've created these higher highs, and now I'm looking for that better price. Now the better price I was referencing was from this low to the high, but now we've created a new high, so I'm just going to place it here. This area of entry is no longer relevant. That was some time back, and now this is the next relevant point. So you can see that the 50 level is here and the 61 late level is down here. So then what's next? Well, I would still much prefer to wait for the market to reach this level, either firstly here, and if we see what happens when if it turns around, if and when it does that, and then the next part level will be down here if we don't get any price action at this level. That would be what I'll be waiting for, because I'm still want to jump in with the higher time frame and get in on that move rather than the pullback, which it seems that we're in at the moment. This is not any price action, not any reversal pattern that I can tell. All I can see is that we've broken previous days structures and we are currently bearish, at least in the short term. So let's see if the market does indeed reach our level here, or breaks down even further and reaches the 61.8 or 78 retracement area, and this will be the extreme low if we reach that point, and then we see what happens down there. We do see that we have this kind of gap here, if you can see to the left, so we may still reach that point. Here was a previous gap, as you can see in the market, and we just filled it in and bounced away. So let's see if that happens again in this case, but we are really quite a long way away from this gap down here where we are at the moment, and it's too early days to tell, so let's wait for that. Be patient once again. I'm going to keep repeating that word, and then get in when the market is right, when it shows us its hand in the price action. Okay then, so that's where we're at the moment with these charts. This is what we've got for the week. Thank you very much for joining me this week. Click subscribe and like if you haven't done so already. Show us some support, and I will be presenting some more ideas for you next week, and you're welcome to share yours as well. All right then, thanks guys, and have a good trading week for this last week of April. I hope you're enjoying the spring time, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye for now. Thanks for checking in. See you on the next one. All right, have a good trading week, guys.